Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. It is Friday, October 13th. It's 9:05 a.m., and I'm going to call to order the Communications Committee for the Weston Public Schools. We have a fairly light agenda. Um, we will start with approval of the meeting minutes from our September 8th, 2023 meeting. If there's any, yeah.
I move to approve the meeting minutes from September 2023.
All right, I second that. So there we go. That was all taken care of. Next item on our agenda is a discussion or a continued discussion on the public comment discussion that we started at our last meeting. Chad's not with us today, and so Chad essentially was sort of heading up the initiative on that. So I think, Sharon, if you're in agreement, we should probably table further conversation on that for our next meeting when Chad's back.
Sure.
Okay. So I believe we may have an additional agenda item. What is that item, Dan?
Just discussion of a product called Parent Square.
Okay. So by Robert's rules, we have to make a motion. So I'll make the motion, or yeah. You want to make the motion, Sharon?
No, go ahead. You do it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to add to the agenda discussion about PowerWare.
And then we have to vote on it.
I
approve.
Yeah.
According to Robert's rules.
Yeah. All right, I second. So I think we are all good to add that to the agenda. So Dan, take it away.
Sure. So I just wanted to be brief about this. We'll talk about this more next month when Chad is also here. But our website provider was Gabbert Communications. And right before we went live with it, they were actually purchased. They were bought out by a company called Parent Square. And so Parent Square, the larger company, is a notification product for school districts. So as such, they've reached out to me several times to discuss the integration of their full Parent Square product, since we already pay for website hosting. So I haven't looked into pricing or anything, but I know that it's a deep discounted price. If not, some of the functionality is built in to what we already own. So I just wanted to discuss if we feel that this is something we could use as a district to help with communication with families, if we feel that it's something that's more efficient or could get the word out better as a district. So I haven't really taken a deep dive into it. I know that there are local school districts that are using Parent Square, or they're in the process of implementing it. One of them being Wilton Public Schools. Wilton also had Gabbert Communications for their website, and they decided to move forward with Parent Square for rapid notification. I don't know on what level, if it's a district level or if it's on a school or classroom level. I want to make sure it doesn't conflict with what we already use for rapid notifications, which is called SwiftReach. So I just wanted to kind of put that on everyone's radar as potentially something we may want to look into using if we feel that it's beneficial for the district and communication to the public.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it is that, right now I think that the SwiftReach system, I have not been privy to any complaints about the SwiftReach system right now. Not that I'm of the if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing, because especially with technology, you have to kind of stay on top of things. However, if it's not broken right now, if we're not getting complaints as it stands, and there's also, when we start to adopt new platforms, it requires people to have to go in and sign up, and then we end up having attrition because of that, et cetera. So I would say if it's something that we need to explore because we think that SwiftReach is perhaps dwindling as far as its effectiveness is concerned, or if it's just something that we need to explore so we know what the options are moving forward in case it starts to dwindle, then I would suggest exploring. But as far as, you mentioned something about cost, and you're not aware of what the costs are. Right now, I don't see a necessity for spending right now on it. But knowing about it is not a bad thing. And, talking to Wilton perhaps and finding out what was the impetus for them changing over would probably be good just to know, right? Yep. So, if that's something that we should explore, then that's fine. But that's my just first reaction to it.
Absolutely. Okay.
David?
So I took a look at their website. My take on it would be a couple of things. I think it's worth looking into, especially if it's integrated into something with the website.
Right.
That way, less systems or vendors to manage and tighter integration could be a net positive.
Right.
If I remember correctly, with SwiftReach, it's just a blast out. It's essentially it's a mass notification system. It's not two-way. It's
correct.
Okay. So when I looked up Parent Square,
Yep.
I mean, the marketing materials are sometimes not exactly what the product is, or after 100 different bolt-ons, you get the product on the website.
Right.
But it does look interesting in that it seems to be more collaborative.
Right.
And it would be interesting if the classrooms or the PTO or the building level, PTO level, or classroom level could use it for a combination of notification and some back and forth collaboration. Because I think right now the PTOs all sort of do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah.
But we have to be really careful with that, David, in that the PTOs only have access to the PTO members. The PTOs can't send out information to non-members.
Right. Well, I think that's right. I think that's right. I think that's they communicate with non-members until you don't pay. And after you stop, but yeah, my point being is more, I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
It would be interesting what the cost difference are. And then I always say, if it costs more, what don't we have today that it's going to provide us? And then we put a value on that.
Yep.
But, as a communication committee, I think we've been talking about for a couple of years now, being more transparent or having communication more easily accessible to people. And if we can standardize on this tool across the schools, it could be a net positive, especially as kids move through the system.
Right. And that's what I'm looking at also is, would it fix, there's some features to Parent Square that are redundant to products that we already own, but each piece has its own, like parent-teacher conference scheduling is a section of Parent Square. So we have a product for right? Then there's also notifications on like lunch balances and any kind of permission slips or annual forms. We already have a product for that. So it would be interesting to see if a unifying product could save us, because we would be able to then drop the other software products and it would be a one-stop shop, right? We always want to try to use from a management perspective, as little products as possible, so we don't create confusion for the office staff and for teachers, so they don't have to remember, oh wait, I have to go log into this for parent teachers and I have to go do this to send an email to students. So that's why I want to see, how does it integrate? How would it integrate in with PowerSchool? That would be first and foremost, right? That's our starting point for everything, is PowerSchool for our student information system. And then would it be a value on the classroom level? And then would it be a value on the district level? And if it's a value in each, are there different price points with Parent Square or is it like you pay one price and you get everything? Those are the things that I can look into. And I'll also reach out to Wilton to see how their implementation is going. I know they basically said, like, this year we are in the process of implementing it. So it's not like hey, let's flip the switch and we're good to go. So I'll get some feedback from them too, and I'll bring it to the meeting next month.
That would be great. The other thing is how, we talked, I mentioned the opt-in, or however people are going to, like, attrition possibly. Yep. Is this something, since we're already utilizing the platform for our website, do we already have that information, the district information in there enough so that we could avoid any sort of sign-in for parents, and then we could kind of avoid that attrition?
So we do not want to provide parents with any more sign-in features, because again, that's one more thing as a parent that they have to remember. And so right now our website is completely separate from PowerSchool. They don't link at all. When we update the staff directory, we're actually just exporting staff out of PowerSchool and importing them in. So it's a manual process. So that's what I want to see. Like, if we're now going to have to provide parents with a whole new login, that's a lot for parents to handle. And I speak that from experience, right? As a parent in another school district, more logins, it makes your head spin. So
Absolutely.
we want to make it, I'm looking to see how simple it is to use. And is it just like, this is how it works, right? And then you reply with the email or however it works. Simplicity is always important and at the top of my mind as when with parents, when you're dealing with parents and how they can communicate back and how we notify them. So that's a really good point. I don't want anything convoluted because
No.
that causes confusion. And Swift Reach, for the purpose of it, is very simple to use as a district level, and it's automatic for parents because it's directly integrated with PowerSchool, right? So there's no separate login for Swift Reach for parents because it's already there. It's baked in. So one less thing for them to worry about. And I would hate to have to add an extra step for parents that if they change phone numbers or if they move within town and they need to change their address, I don't want them having to log into a separate site, to make those changes a second time. Because I have at previous districts had rapid notification systems that were completely separate, and parents would get frustrated, right? If they changed their numbers or whatever,
Yeah.
they'd do it in multiple locations and they'd forget. And then they'd stop getting notifications, and then that number would be given to a new person who lives somewhere in Connecticut, and now they're getting school cancellation notices for a town they don't even live in. So we don't want that to happen, right? So
Yeah.
All good points.
Yeah, so that's my whole thing is, we have to weigh all those bells and whistles can be great, but if it's going to cause a problem as far as like the simplicity of the use by the parents, then that is ultimately going to have a negative impact on our communication with the parents. So let's make sure that we're weighing that. So yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
Sounds like we're all on the same page.
Is Swift Reach a PowerSchool product?
So it's a PowerSchool integrated
Okay.
product. So it's actually like when we go to send out a mass email, we actually don't log into Swift Reach. When we log into PowerSchool, it's a menu option right on the left-hand side, right on there. So it's kind of baked in. I don't think PowerSchool owns it though, because they do have standalone products for customers who don't have PowerSchool.
And you don't know how well this one or how much integration this one does with PowerSchool, correct?
I'm assuming there's going to be like a back-end synchronization, but I would assume it's not going to be like, it would be a separate login for us.
Right.
In order to access it, we'd have to go to, Parent Square's parent site.
Okay. All right. That sounds fair.
Yeah, my feeling would be one, if it, number one, obviously the most important piece, excuse me, does it integrate into PowerSchool, right? So you get the live data right out of PowerSchool.
Right.
Number two, is it modular? If right now the only thing we're looking to replace at the moment is Swift Reach,
right? Can
you get just the Swift Reach module?
Right.
And if so, at what cost versus Swift Reach?
Right.
And then number three, not to overload, we don't want to fix a problem that doesn't exist yet, but if there's more features that can be turned on or evaluated later, it sounds like, if it integrates with PowerSchool, if it comparably replaces Swift Reach for easeability on both the parent side and your side, and it can do more later, and you can add the later,
right?
It would probably make, and one less throat to choke, as we say.
Yeah, right.
It could make sense.
But I don't think that right now we're necessarily looking to replace Swift Reach. This is just let's see what options are available for future use, correct?
Right. I'm not looking to get rid of Swift Reach at all this year. I've had no issues with it.
Yeah.
We haven't. It's just that how granular can we get with the use of it is something I have to dive into myself, to just look at the overall utilization of Swift Reach and look at the pricing and then compare it and say, do we get more bang for our buck with Parent Square, right? Down, even if it's not, even like David said, even if it's modular and it's a product that's like an even switch, but then down the road we can integrate more in, then is that something that we should pursue?
Right. I am a fan of modular. I know that this sounds, you don't want to hear that because multiple logins, but I am a fan of modular just because you get too tied into any one project and then you're being held prisoner. That's my philosophy on, with the exception of Apple, of which I am a complete prisoner at this stage of my life.
Yeah, and on a related question, since Gabbard is no longer or whatever they sold, I presume that we pay a monthly or annual maintenance fee for the site. I remember this came up and it was unlimited support for you guys from Gabbard. Has that changed and has the cost gone up? Or like, I always kind of say,
Yeah.
what are we looking at over the next 12 or 24 months? As you add more services around whoever bought Gabbard, you do become a little bit more of a prisoner. It becomes that much more difficult to move. So yeah, is there any indication that the ongoing operational costs?
So that was my biggest thing, because legitimately I got the email from Gabbard's CEO a week before we went live with our website. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Right when we're about to go live, it's now Parent Square. But they made it very, very clear that our pricing and our yearly hosting fees and our support would not increase in price, and it's the same value of the unlimited, trainings and access to their videos, webinars, and on-demand content. So there has been no inclination that will raise at any point in time. They didn't say like we'll honor it for a year. They just said we will continue to honor the pricing that you signed the contract for.
And is a contract for some period of time where
it's on a yearly basis, but like when we even looked at this coming year, the price did not increase.
Okay.
Hopefully they keep to their word.
Right. Okay. All right. So I guess we will wait for an update on that. I don't know if there's any other business to discuss. If not, all right. Well,
Wow, this was painless.
all right. So in that case, then, Sharon, I will kick it to you to make a motion to adjourn. I know that's your favorite part of every meeting.
Isn't it a favorite part of everybody's meeting, especially those 3-hour marathons, 4-hour marathons? I moved that we adjourn.
Monday night.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be Monday. There on Monday night, we have a death in my family, and I'm going to be on a plane to Detroit.
Well, sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It was not a shock, but at the same time, it still stinks when it happens. So thanks. But anyway, you'll have to carry on without me, David.
It'll be tough. Dan, if you could bring an extra box of tissues. Oh no, we're remote.
Yeah. We are remote.
I know. I even tried to fix it so I could do the remote, but my flight literally takes off at 6:30. And I was like,
right. Okay.
There's Wi-Fi. There's Wi-Fi in flights, Sharon.
Yeah. I think everybody on the plane wants to hear all about the Weston Board of Education.
All right. So you want to make a motion?
I so move that we adjourn the communications meeting for Friday the 13th, the day I'm getting on a flight again. Yay.
Boy.
I second. Everyone enjoy your weekend, and I guess we'll see some of you on Monday, Dan.
All right.
Take
care.
Hey guys, bye-bye. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.